In today's video, we're talking about practice. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here today. Today I would like to talk about defensive football practice planning and kind of talk about it from the in-season perspective. And this is really just this is everything that I've just come up with in the last 5 years or so. And it's just a culmination of everything that we've done, what's worked, and really what happened this past year has actually kind of been the best it's been. And just kind of changing up little variations of what we do in practice, and just kind of having a totally different mindset going into this year. It worked out the best for us as far as like how we did it. So would like to talk about just kind of the breakdown of all 5 days of in-season practice. So Monday through Friday, just kind of talking about what we do, having a little bit of an explanation of just an idea for some of you that might be, planning your own defensive practices. I had full reign of it this year. So I went through and did everything how I wanted to do, and it was great. So as far as Monday, what we do defensively, and everybody's kind of different on Mondays as far as what they do. Some people, it's a full-length practice. For us, it really isn't. But we're getting the scouting report out to the players, distributing that scouting report. On that scouting report, we've got different things. One of the big things that we take to practice from the scouting report is formation recon, which is just basically their top formations of what we're going to see. And we try to relate them to, what our kids see offensively sometimes. So for formation recon, I basically just made a rule for myself not to have more than 9 formations. But all we do is we take scout offense. Usually we just, get the guys that, we just put the offensive lineman down on a knee and then move all the other parts and have the defense line up. It's usually something really quick. We try not to worry about, like, if there's 9 formations where the receiver sets change 9 times, it's really not a big deal if we change the backfield sets too much, unless we're playing a really heavy run team. Then we'll mess around with some of the backfield sets. But when we do formations, like it could be twins, it could be tray, trips, empty, quads, whatever those formations are, pro sets, whatever. Like, we just try to make 9 formations. And if a team comes out and has 5 formations, that's their base 5. That's what they do. We don't run any more than that. So we don't try to get too complicated on formation recon. And all we're trying to do is just line up and just our base defense and go through adjustments, checks. We go through base calls and any adjustments that we have for this team. So it could be like if they give us trips or quads in some way, like we'll have adjustments for special things. It could be, special formations we see, stacked receivers we usually talk about. If they stack, 2 or more receivers up, we'll talk about those kind of things. For Tuesday. So Tuesday is our long day. We try at the start of beginning of defensive practice to have some type of circuit type warm up. And it's usually just a mix of turnover or tackling circuit. We usually never do these back to back. It's usually just one or the other. Turnover circuit we do more near kind of the beginning of the season and start to phase it out, and then start to work tackling circuit just a little bit more. And as the season goes on, we start to do less and less of the circuit type stuff. But usually by the end, we're trying to even sometimes we have to come back to the fundamentals of tackling on those days. But we try to make the circuit, and usually we have 3 to 4 groups in the circuit, and each position coach takes a group or has a turnover or a tackling concept that we're going to work, and we go through those, and the players are kind of within their own position groups or sometimes blended together. We'll do that. And then move on to our individual periods as far as like individual skill work, stuff like that. We do a blitz period on Tuesdays, and the blitz period is all that is just going through our base blitzes, stunts, slants, any games that we're going to play. with that. And so we try to include the defensive line, linebackers, and safeties. If the safeties are involved in the blitz, we'll include them in there. I didn't put it on the slide here. But if we do any type of like smoke blitzes or anything like that involving safeties, like we'll use them in that. Moving on from there, these two groups get kind of paired together. We also have done kind of some work in the coverage stuff. So sometimes we group up, and this is really just about a 5-minute period for blitz period. But we also do one where we will take the corners and the safeties and put them together and kind of work coverage concepts together. Those two are separate for us, so we try to work those a little bit. Then 7-on-7 defense. That's just linebackers and DBs. It's just basic 7-on-7 defense skelly. I put in here as far as like how we are doing this. We're scripting plays defensively. There's probably different trains of thought to all the stuff that we do specifically on how many plays we run in this. We try to spend about somewhere between 15 minutes at most on 7-on-7 D, and it's somewhere between 10 to 16 plays in that time. And then the defensive line also, they're working with their D-line coach and pass rush, working those kind of concepts. Now, there are days where we do less 7-on-7, more 9v9. I want to talk about what 9v9 is. 9v9 is essentially inside run. It's inside run, outside run, defensive type stuff. I didn't want to make a inside run period, outside run period, and so we just made it 9v9. It's going to include it basically includes all of our run fit players. Anybody that deals with the run fits are involved in this, and so we actually sometimes will send cornerbacks out on their own little world with the DB coach just to work like just individual cornerback stuff, like man coverage, stuff like that, press technique, things like that. But 9v9 almost gets to where it's almost like team, because essentially you've got the scout offense versus the first defense. And so we try to use less plays of 9v9. And what I like to do in 9v9 more of is I like to do, say, if they are a wing T team and they're going to run buck sweep and belly, like we will just, if we're playing like a heavy buck sweep team, like we will just run buck sweep 8 plays in a row. And however way we want to draw it up, whatever variation, we'll do it all. We've done that before, and it's more of a way. It's like we're just worried about the run fits. We're scripting it. We're lining up. Usually we're not doing a whole lot of blitzing in this. We're usually lining up and just playing defense. We're reading keys. We'll mix in, if there's some things we want to see, we'll mix it in there kind of late. So it's kind of why I say 8 to 12 plays. If we've got time there at the end, we'll run a few more. And then finally on Tuesday, like I said, this is the long day. It gets a little easier after Tuesday. But we have Team D, which is your basic, first Team D versus your scout offense. And we keep it to 16 plays, no more, no less. I try to cut myself off at 16, and I don't really have a good rhyme or reason for this. It was just on kind of one of our practice templates that we went off of as far as like offensive practice, and our head coach uses 16 plays to call an offense, and I was like, well, I'm just going to do 16 plays for defense. It just, the way that I scripted it like that, it made sense. We did it in a 15-minute period, and we were done. So we get 16 plays in 15 minutes, and it's very fast-paced. It's up-tempo. Like we're trying to, and it's a good series. And there's, the defense doesn't always win, and Tuesdays are a lot of fun. It's very, very competitive. We try to build up the offensive scout team. They've got usually some of our offensive guys on there, and they work us, and it's awesome. Let's talk about Wednesday. So Wednesday is a little more technical as far as what we're trying to do, team-wise here. But Wednesday for us, one of the things that I kind of came up with this year, and you'll see this come back again on our Thursday practice. but it's best four. So we start off defensive practice basically just kind of where we left off, and it's best four. And when I say it's offense is best four versus the defense. And so what we try to do, first team D versus scout, just like regular team D, very start of practice, we try to get a lot of energy, up tempo. Defense has 4 plays to stop them. We've done it to where they got to get a first down. We can't allow them to get a first down. We've done it like that before. But main thing with best four is what I try to do, depending on the team that you see and kind of what, my rule is I try to get their top 2 runs, their top passing concept, and some type of other special call. Like one of them this year for us, real late in the year in our playoff game, what we had was they were running a variation of quads, and we had an adjustment for that. And so we wanted to see that quads adjustment basically ran out there live. And so we did that as the special. Top passing concept, that is what it is. Like, what's their favorite pass concept and their top 2 runs. And then after that, we get into individual. So it's to kind of start practice off on a high note. Sometimes it doesn't always work out for the defense because the offense will expose us. It happens. There you have your days, but it really sets the tone of practice, and where you can kind of go from there. I like to, if it's going to be one of the bad practices, if it's going to be a struggle and the offense, gets us, we've got time here to kind of build those guys back up and going through everything else. So individual position groups, going back to what we just call Indy. And that's just, going with your individual coach. D 7-on-7 or D 9v9 just really depends on the team that we're playing. We try not to do both of them. We try not to make Wednesday such a heavy team day, but it ends up being that in a way. But it's a little shorter. It's still the same time slot, but we do just a little bit more for team. So in team, it's still the same amount of calls. It's still, we're going to do, when we go team defense, we're going to do 16 calls. But what we do is we break it down into third down and then red zone calls. So I don't really say necessarily on Tuesday that we run first and second down. I really don't call it that. A lot of the times it's just their best plays versus what we're trying to do defensively. But on at least for us on Team D on Wednesdays is to try to get our third down calls in. We try to limit it to 8 plays, and there's no real rhyme or reason. Like I said, it was just kind of sticking to the same formula. And for me, this was always kind of 8 plays. And we try to mix in third and short calls, third and medium, your 4 to 7s, and then your 8+. We're working long downs. Red zone, we all kind of put this in together. It's kind of red zone goal line type of stuff. We just call it red zone. But like I said, it's 8 plays, 2 from the 20, 4 from the goal line to the 7-yard line going in. And then we do, what we try to do is like the first play from the goal line is on the 7. Then we just kind of move it up. Usually we go 7-yard line, 5-yard line, the 3, and then the 1 are basically just right on the inch of the goal line. Like we try to do all of those. And that one, it sets the tone. It really does. Like when the offense scores, like it's demoralizing. It's just like getting scored on in a game. But they really have to take pride in stopping them on the goal line. So we try to do just 4 calls on the goal line. We have done it to where if a team runs a lot of 2-point conversion plays, we'll also throw in some stuff for conversions as well. And then finally, we have 2 plays coming out. And usually what I would do with this, and this would be like if the offense is starting inside their own 20, or if it's like they're starting on their own 10. All right, and you're coming out. We've also done to where that we do 1 coming out play and then 1 prevent call and practice on that. We've done it that way. And I've been doing the third down red zone. I've been doing it this way for a couple of years now, and I really enjoy Wednesdays the way that it's scripted right now. Like I said, but that's pretty much it as far as practice goes, because the very next day we get into Thursday walkthrough practice. And we really don't have a whole lot here. We work a lot of the special teams that day. But basically, we start the practice out like a lot of teams do. So we go start of Thursday is kickoff, and then go best four on defense. And then really best four is just going back to these top four that we did on Wednesday. I mean, we just put them back on there. It's best four. Do that again. And on Thursdays, it's not a padded day for us. It's helmets only, but the offense will walk to their blocks. Defense reacts. And then pretty much we do all passing game stuff, pretty much live, without like a live pass rush or anything. They just kind of stay in their rush lanes. Then we do second series of D kind of right after the offense, and we do punt, offense, and do some other things. But eventually in our walkthrough practice, we will get a second series of D in. And this, for me, it's usually about 12 to 16 plays, mixing in various situations and kind of ending on the goal line down here on usually, play 15, 16 or so. And that's really Thursday. That's all we have defensively that I script for. Friday, pretty much we do inside the locker room walkthrough. We've done it when we've been on long road trips. We've done it at places where we've just stopped at the restaurant that we were eating in and did it in the parking lot. We did it in the parking lot this year of a Cracker Barrel before we went to our playoff game. So it can be done anywhere. I mean, you can do the walkthrough, but what we try to do is just go through all calls, all coverages, the checks, the blitzes, the stunts, anything that we do in the game. That's pretty much it. And then the whole goal of Friday is just go win. So that's really it. So I hope this helps. It was just kind of a way for me to get on here and just kind of talk about what's worked for us and what's been successful. This was, like I said, this was the first year where I felt like it just really seemed to all come together. And I like this format as far as what we're doing for each day. It's just been a lot of fun to do it like this. So hope this was helpful. If you got any more questions as far as practice planning, this was just something that was on my mind, but I wanted to go through and talk about kind of like what we do. I do want to talk kind of here in the future about as far as like how we script plays, what we look for, but this is kind of what we base it on. So anyway, that's all I've got for now. I'm Mr. Football, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect.